Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled, Hey Beautiful is the online version of catcalling. We don't owe anyone a thank you for the unsolicited evaluation of our appearance. And guys, take a wild guess what type of person wrote this article. Think hard, because I'm sure it's very difficult. If the idea popped in your head that a angry feminist wrote this article, 10 points for you, because yes, that's who wrote it. Big surprise there. And guys, this whole article is written by a woman. This woman is the same one who wrote the article that I did a video on the other day that was titled, If Chivalry is Dead, it isn't the feminists who killed it, okay? And definitely she's pissed off. She's got a lot of issues, blames guys for a lot of things, just your typical, stereotypical feminist. I'm going to say feminist from this point on. This whole article is basically her going into the fact that when guys address not just her, but just any woman as, hey, beautiful, or something like that, that obviously it's a very negative and bad thing. But in particular, she's focusing on the online version of it. So like if she was on a dating app or social media and some guy emailed her or direct messaged her and addressed her as, hey, beautiful, in her view, it is the same as catcalling, which basically in her idea is that somebody is harassing you out in public on the street in an uncomfortable way that makes them uncomfortable, okay? And she's going to go into this whole song and dance. And I always find this funny, guys, because here's the deal. From the perspective of a guy, all the time when I'm out, like if I'm getting a more early morning coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, I'll have the girl behind the counter call me honey. Or especially if I'm traveling down south, like I like to go to New Orleans, they always call guys baby down there. If I'm in female cab drivers, female waitresses, female bartenders, hey baby, I get all the time. Do I care about that? No. I also have women that like me and I see that refer to me, they say, hey handsome, hey sexy. Again, do I get bent out of shape about that? No. Now some people may say, oh, well you're a guy so you don't feel unsafe. Well, in my view, if a woman is in public, a lot of people around, and someone says that to her, I don't see how she can feel unsafe. On the other hand, if she was walking at home, at night, maybe from her job, in the parking lot, or I don't know what it is, at night, nobody's around, and somebody said that to her, I can see where the argument could be made that she may feel a little uncomfortable, unsafe. Fine, I'm fine with that. But in terms of just simply in public, where generally, overwhelmingly, it's complimentary, who the hell cares? And I don't think many do, but women like her got to make a mountain out of a molehill and carry on and sound off because about the whole, I don't need you to tell me about my looks and things like that. So, and I'm doing this, guys, basically because of this. People like this, men or women, that are very outspoken and very loud and bring a lot of attention to themselves, tend to influence others. Okay? Because let's face it here, the reality is that most people in this world, men and women, it goes both ways, really can't think for themselves, and they're followers, they're sheep. And so these types have influence on them. So the last thing we need is people like her that's going to influence semi-normal, and I'll emphasize semi-normal women that ordinarily would be more into their feminine than into their masculine like her. Okay, so I'm bringing attention to her about this and enjoying calling her on her bullshit and just letting you guys know that these types are out there, so just be aware of it so you don't actually end up on a date with one of these types. So I'm going to go into it here. Again, she says, we don't owe anyone a thank you for the unsolicited evaluation of our appearance. As a woman, or as women, we've all been there. The message or message request pops up from a name we don't recognize. Out of curiosity, we look. Could it be someone we know, a friend of a friend, a message from a fan of our work? Inevitably, it reads something like this. Hey, beautiful, or hi, did you know that you're beautiful? Or something to that effect. And in my experience, we're supposed to say thank you, to feel flattered, and even to be open to continuing the conversation that started out with an observation of the way we look. Guys, if a woman says something to me like, hey handsome, hey sexy, I like it. It's a compliment. And I don't care if she's hot or I don't care if she's 350 pounds. I'll still take it as a compliment. The 350 pounder is not going to have a chance of being in hell, but I'll still take it as a compliment. I certainly won't get offended by it. So what's the big deal? But you got these types that are carrying on, and if she doesn't want to talk to the guy, she doesn't have to talk to the guy. But I guarantee you, it's not meant to be harmful. She continues, Recently, I received a message like this, and instead of ignoring it or blocking it, I would usually, I responded with a quick lesson on misogyny and grape culture. This one particular man may or may not have good intentions. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that this behavior is pervasive online, and it's the internet equivalent of catcalling. So instead of just ignoring the guy, she actually gives him a whole lecture about that. Imagine that. The guy probably meant no harm, meant it as complimentary. I can't see how he's calling her beautiful, but put that aside. And she gives him a whole lecture on all this bullshit. Imagine that. And the guy's probably like, screw you, lady. She goes on, it's not flattering. We don't owe anyone a thank you for the unsolicited evaluation of our appearance. That sums up her whole... I'm going to read that again. We don't owe anyone a thank you for the unsolicited evaluation of our appearance. You know, most feminine women, like the fact that men or the opposite sex or those that they're attracted to find them attractive. Okay, they enjoy that because we all know darn well that women love attention and validation. But you got these types that make it out to be a bad thing. And worse yet, these types, like her, try to influence women like that getting compliments and being found attractive is a bad thing. And they're also the same types that try to influence these types of women, feminine women, to make them feel bad for trying to make themselves look good, to take care of themselves physically. It's unbelievable. And some buy into this crap. And then later on complain, guys aren't attracted to me. I mean, I've done articles where you have women that are, the feminist types, but they still want to date guys, and they get upset because guys aren't into them. And they can't figure out, well, guess what? When you have tattoos all over your arms, you have blue hair, you dress like crap, guys aren't going to be attracted to you. Meanwhile, back in the day before they found the sisterhood, they didn't look too bad and could attract guys. And not even getting on the subject of their whole change in personality and their attitude problems. She goes on, we don't have to respond or be open to conversation. A text or social media message like this is inappropriate and unwelcome as catcalling. In your view, and the view of others like you. But I'm willing to bet you the vast majority don't give a shit. We have every right to ignore these types of messages, but lately my urge to dismantle the patriarchy has been more pressing than my need to avoid confrontation. These types love confrontation, guys. They live for it. That's why be very careful and have a very good screening process for you guys that date, that you don't end up on a date with one of these types. Maybe some of you would love to do that on the basis that you'd love to get into an argument with them, okay? That's your own business. I don't have time for that bullshit, but maybe that's something you want to do. I would encourage it because that's what they want, but that's why I warn you. If we want to eradicate grape culture and the misogyny that underlies it, we need to be very direct about how this behavior makes us feel and why it's inappropriate. It's funny, guys. I know I keep interrupting her, but I need to point these things out along the way here and call her out on her bullshit. Whenever something that men do makes these types not happy, and it could be just not a big deal thing, and some people may say, it's not a big deal to you because you're a man. No, it's not a big deal to most men and women. They always like to tie in the grape. I'm speaking in code here. You can figure it out. Grape culture and misogyny and all that. That stuff, which is obviously not... The grape part is obviously a bad thing, but you see what I'm talking about here. They always want to tie in that to give justification for this minor, unimportant horse shit like she's talking about here. Every time. It says here, there are some men that just don't seem to know. Take a look at recent news on S-word harassment and ASSAULT. The explanation for many of these men seems to revolve around the idea that they didn't realize their actions were unwelcome or inappropriate. Why? Because what mattered was their, and she has their in capital letters, their experience of it, their desire, their attraction, their satisfaction, their ego. Does this woman sound like a lot of fun to be around? Can you imagine having to be stuck talking to this girl? Oh my God. Angry, angry, angry. It had nothing to do with the object of that desire or attraction and their feelings of fear, shame, humiliation, or discomfort. Each time they went on to HARASS, and ASSAULT others, leaving behind a trail of people who had to deal with that experience for the rest of their lives. Now, if she's talking about the extreme case, which we all know what she's talking about, obviously that's a negative and bad thing. But in terms of just, hey, beautiful, and things like that, who the hell cares? Take that stick out of your butt and get a life, lady. So how do we take this experience of being hit and unwelcome messages and turn it into a way to take down the patriarchy? It's always about taking down the supposed patriarchy. We need to be clear and unequivocal in our message that A, it's not flattering, and B, it's inappropriate, unacceptable, and unwelcome. In her view, she's making it out to be that all women need to jump on board with her point of view here. That's bullshit. I guarantee you most women, most feminine women will think she's out of her damn mind. The ones at the very least can think for themselves and aren't easily swayed. But I guarantee you in person, she's probably a very, very outspoken, ball-busting type that would just bully her way in to get others to agree with her. I've seen these types before. Trust me. She says, we don't need to say thank you for unwelcome flattery. Even if our good manners kick in, we need to squelch the urge to express gratitude for inappropriate behavior. We don't want to reinforce it. A compliment is inappropriate behavior. Unbelievable. We can educate and inform about how these behaviors contribute to misogyny and rape culture, on the off chance that the sender is actually clueless about the impact. We can report abusive messages and block the perpetrators when our rejection results in a backlash. Well, if somebody's harassing you, of course you can certainly block them or delete them, but if somebody... Here's the deal. Like if a guy addresses her as, hey, beautiful, or something like that, and doesn't mean a harmful way, and she gives him this whole lecture and just blows a casket and gives him a hard time about it, and he reacts a little bit, which she obviously manipulated, and then she goes and reports him, who do you think is the one that started this whole mess, the confrontation to begin with? Her. But who's going to get blamed for it and obviously get penalized in one form or another on whatever dating app or social network she's referring to? The guy. Doing this is not going to smash the patriarchy in a day. It's not nearly enough for that. It won't put more women leaders in office, and it won't impact legislation that protects our rights. It won't get us equal pay, here we go again with that, or assure us gender equality in the workplace. It's not going to get families better paid family leave either. It won't fix all our problems or halt S-word harassment in its tracks. But what it will do is take a clear, practical step toward addressing one problem. It's a peaceful way of saying that we're going to treat those unsolicited messages online in the same way we treat catcalling. We won't be receptive. We won't thank them for that. We won't smile because we look prettier if we did. We won't calmly accept it as part of our lot in life as women. We'll speak up and speak out. And we're going to spread the word that these unsolicited observations aren't welcome. Catcalling is harassment. Plain and simple. It doesn't matter if it's shouted on the streets or slipped into our inbox. It's not harmless or welcome or okay. And it's time for it to stop. Sounds to me this woman needs to get some serious sex or something. Or do something to bring her some kind of physical joy, because obviously it hasn't happened in a long time. But guys, this is what I'm talking about. I wasn't exaggerating when I started this video here. And it's big mouths like her that is making a mountain out of a molehill. And like I said before, I guarantee overwhelmingly the guys that wrote to her like this didn't mean any harm. Guaranteed it all, and probably it was receptive with plenty of other women. And in her opinion, she'd say that it was all bullshit. No. Women enjoy compliments. Women enjoy attention and validation. Most women enjoy being seen as attractive and beautiful. Okay, that's a good thing to them. Except these types. I don't know what she looks like. I didn't take the time to read it. I'm busy. I'm gonna research what she looks like. I'm gonna check it out later to see if actually she is at least have enough looks that guys would, write her and say, hey, beautiful, and things like that. And I haven't taken time to read the comment section about this article, but I'm willing to bet you, guaranteed, the vast majority are not in any way, shape, or form in agreement with her psychotic views on these things. Okay? Like I said, most guys, when they say that, they don't mean any harm. Just the same way as most women don't mean any harm either. I get it all the time wherever I go, and I don't care. care, okay? I take it as a compliment, okay? Whether it's someone that obviously finds me attractive, or whether it's a woman that basically is that's just what she says. Hey, honey, hey, baby, whatever. Why would I care? Why would I make a mountain out of a molehill? There are so many things in this world, guys, that are worth your time and effort to fight as a so-called injustice. And simply a guy just saying, hey, beautiful, or addressing you, complimenting you on your looks and all that, if that's a bad thing, good Lord, I hate to see what would happen if she or other women like her really had to deal with something that was really nasty. But these types are never happy, and this is why typically they're alone, don't have a partner or a boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, in their lives, and are usually alone with their cat or their dog, and don't have very many friends. And it usually goes one of two ways. These types either spend the rest of their lives alone and become very even bitter, lonelier seniors one day, or at some point they just wake up and realize, I have no life. I have no friends. I have nobody who wants to be around me. I have no lover or a relationship at all. And all because of this bullshit that I let some asshole like this woman writing the article put in my head decades before. And I turned everybody off and pushed everybody away, and now I'm alone. Okay? One of those two things is going to happen to the typical types that become either like her or influenced like her. So guys, this is what's out there. This is what's influencing the masses, which we certainly don't need. And be careful, guys, like I always say, for you, those you do dates, one drink only. If you start hearing about this whole song and dance she's rambling about, get out of there. Gone. In fact, even do a better job of the screening process before you even end up on that first date, because you don't want to be around them, okay? So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.